exist, how many of you guys would believe me? No one, okay. Because to be self-caused, whether it's me, you, or anything in the universe, if anything is self-caused, it would have had to have existed before it existed in order to create itself to exist. I'll give you a mental constipation if you're not careful. You know? I mean, that doesn't make sense, right? Nothing can cause itself to exist. It would have had to exist beforehand, which is impossible. So, all we have left is uncaused and caused by something else. Now, I am caused by something else. You are, and your parents were, and it goes back to, okay, and they were caused by something else, right? Whether you want to, someone wants to say that that was people, or the Bible tells us it was God, and here's why. If every single thing is caused by something else, that is a logical impossibility. It's called an infinite regress. Okay? It's people causing people who were there because of people, who were there because of people, who were there because of people. That cannot go on forever. It's logically impossible. Okay? At some point, you have to have a first cause, an uncaused cause, or an uncreated creator. And I would say that's God. Now, of course, that argument doesn't prove the God of the Bible necessarily, right? But it does prove there has to be a first cause, which was not caused by something else, right? That first cause would be uncaused. Okay, now you're getting ahead of me. Thank you. So, people, everything here that exists, we change, right? We have potential. We can get old. We can die. And we are not the cause of our existence. The universe is expanding. The sun is cooling. If the universe was cooling forever, if the sun was cooling forever, it would have burned out by now, right? Now, if the universe is expanding and going like this, if you go in reverse, what happens? It goes back together. So there was a Big Bang, and it's that we know who banged it, right? But where did that universe come from? Because the universe is changing. It has potential. Stars are burning out. The sun is cooling, right? Now, if the universe is physical, now you can go to that next one. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Let's stay there, okay? Let's stay there. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. So, what's that beginning? What does that refer to? In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Like science? No? Okay. Anyone have a different answer? Okay. Beginning refers to the space-time universe. Beginning refers to time. Time began. Right? Yesterday ended, that's why we're in today, right? So the beginning refers to time. It refers to the universe, right? The heavens and the earth. Everything that was created there at the beginning. So if in the beginning God created, God would have had to have been there before the beginning. Does that make sense? If he was there at the beginning, he had to be there before the beginning. So God is eternal. He's not in time. He created time. He created the space-time universe that we are in. Now, if the universe is physical, it's material, it's in time, it's changing, it's physical, God can't be those things. Because if he created all physical things, and he's a physical thing, he would have had to create himself. Which is that self-caused thing, which is impossible, right? So if the universe is in time, it's physical, material, it's space, right? That means that the cause of the universe has to be outside of the universe, and not the universe itself. So that means that God is spaceless, timeless, immaterial, infinite, not finite, like us and everything in the universe. and eternal, not temporal. Now when I say temporal, I don't mean temporary. I mean in time. So God's eternal, right? So, it should make a little bit more sense now why I said if there was ever a time when nothing existed, and when I say nothing, I don't mean, something that I'm calling nothing. I mean no thing, right? No God, no space, no time, nothing. If nothing existed at some point in the past, nothing would exist now. But if anything at all exists, including you and me, including this chair, tree, whatever, something always existed. Now, when you look at the attributes of what that being would have to be like, who created the universe, who created space and time and everything in it, that lines up with the attributes of God, which you read about in the Bible. Because we read that God is eternal, right? There are many expressions and terms for God in the Bible that are what are known as anthropomorphic expressions. They're using words that we know about to describe God. But I mean, when it says that Jesus sits at the right hand of the Father, does that mean that the Father has a right hand? No, right? Just an expression, right? So everything that if I say, what is God like? What can you point to in this world that would actually describe God? Anything? Everything you point to is physical, right? Everything you point to was created, it had a beginning, it has potential, etc. So all we have to describe God is the sensible world that we can see, touch, taste, etc. So God is not the universe, God is not in the universe, He's outside the universe, He's eternal, etc. Okay? What's the next one there? Next slide. That was a fact, okay. Do many religions believe in the same God? What do you guys think? No? Do Mormons believe in God? Do Jehovah's Witnesses believe in God? Do Muslims believe in God? Do they all believe in Jesus? Yes, they do. They all believe in Jesus, right? And there's other religions that believe in God. So can I just come out, say if I was an atheist, say, okay, well, you guys all believe in God, so I guess you guys all believe the same thing. You guys all believe in Jesus, I guess you guys are all the same thing. I mean, why are you guys calling yourselves Christians and Muslims and all that? Why don't you guys just say, hey, we agree, God exists. Jesus exists. The thing is that if we invited a Mormon, a Muslim, a Jehovah's Witness into this room today, and then, Christians, I could ask everybody, do you guys believe in God? What are they all going to say? Yes. Do you guys all believe in Jesus? What are they going to say? Yeah. So how can I, if I don't say, okay, well, I guess you guys believe all the same stuff, what else can I ask to find out more, to figure out that they don't believe the same thing?
Ask that if Jesus is God. Do you believe that?
Okay. Is Jesus God? That's a good question.
You could ask what they believe about God.
Okay. What do we believe about God and Jesus? For those of you who didn't hear.
Ask if they believe Jesus died and rose.
They believe Jesus died and rose again. Okay. Because the Quran says that Jesus did not die and He did not rise. And the Bible says that He did die and He did rise. Can those both be true? No. Even if somebody believes it, right? Because truth exists outside of myself. It's independent of me. So Jesus Christ either died and rose or He didn't. God exists or He doesn't. But a great question to ask them is, who is God? Who is Jesus Christ? Because Mormons believe that Jesus is a God, but separate than God the Father. They believe that the God of this planet used to be a man, and that He reached exaltation and became a God, and that we as men can become gods ourselves. Now, Jehovah's Witnesses believe that Jesus is Michael the Archangel incarnate. He's not eternal like the Father. Jesus is basically God's first created thing or being, and then through Him, God created everything else. Muslims believe in God, right? Allah. They believe in God. They believe in Jesus, but they don't believe that he's Michael the Archangel, like Jehovah's Witnesses do. They don't believe that he's a God, separate from the Father, like Mormons do. And they definitely don't believe that he is God's Son, the eternal Son of God, like Christians do, like the Bible says. To believe that is called shirk. It's the worst sin you can commit in Islam. They say Allah has no partners. He doesn't have a son. He doesn't have, there's nothing equal to Allah. So you don't find out that these can't all be true unless you ask questions, right? And that's why it's so good to ask people questions, because when you ask questions, you're not preaching to them. You're learning about them, and when you're learning, you can assume less, right? Because you're learning more. And you can use that information to ask more questions. When they say, yeah, a Muslim says, yeah, I don't believe that Jesus is God's son. Why not? As long as you ask questions, you're in control of the conversation. Does that make sense? Because you're not saying anything. They're the ones that are saying things. Whenever they say things, whoever makes the statement has to back up that statement. They have the burden of proof. So if someone tells you there is no God, a good question to ask is, how do you know that to be true? They made the statement, right? They said there's no God. Now you guys know that if anything exists, something always existed. But you don't need to say that right away because they said there's no God. Well, how do you know? Yeah? So as long as you're asking questions, you're in control of the conversation. As long as you're asking questions, you're learning about them, and you can navigate the conversation and get to where you need to go. And of course, the goal of conversations technically, preferably you want to get to the gospel, right? The gospel of Jesus Christ. But all these different religions don't believe in the same God. They all believe in a God. They all believe in a Jesus, but it's the wrong one. Yesterday I was doing door-to-door evangelism, which I do each week. And one of the houses that we went up to, there was a Mormon guy there. I didn't know that right away, because we talk, total strangers all the time. But I had asked him if he had heard of the Ten Commandments, and if he knows what the purpose of the Ten Commandments is. And he said, yeah, I think it's to show us how to be good. And I said, okay, how many can you name? And he started naming them, and he didn't just name them, he actually named the numbers. Like, okay, the 8th commandment is this, and I was like, okay, that's pretty good. Most people aren't able to do that. And I asked him, okay, so do you have some type of religious background? He said, well, yeah, I've been to seminary. And we think, oh, wow, okay, so that's a good Bible education, right? And I said, okay, what seminary do you go to? Again, asking questions, right? I'm in control of the conversation. He said, oh, I'm LDS. All of a sudden, I could have said, oh, you know the commandments, you must be a Christian. See you later. You've been to seminary? Oh, okay, great. I'll see you later. No, I kept asking questions to find out where he was, why he believed what he believed. And he was LDS. And he went inside and got his Bible, and we were talking about the Bible versus the Book of Mormon. And he made some statements that I knew were incorrect biblically. But also, too, I told him how Mormonism falls apart philosophically without even bringing the Bible into it, without even talking about the Book of Mormon, because we talked about, I asked him, I said, do you believe you can become a god? He said, yeah. I said, you believe the God of this planet used to be a man? He said, yeah. So I talked to him about the whole thing of if the God of this planet used to be a man who lived on a planet, used to be a man who had a God, used to be a man who lived on a planet, who had a God, who used to be a man, that can't go on forever. That infinite regress is impossible. At some point, you have to have a first cause. And that first cause is the God of the Bible, and that does not line up with your theology, with your doctrine. I told him, without even talking about the Bible or the Book of Mormon, Mormonism falls apart philosophically, because you cannot have an infinite regress of finite gods, which is what they believe. He believes he can become a god. And the God of this planet wasn't always God, which the Bible says that God's always been God, right? God does not change. We sang in the song this morning, too. We had a verse in there that said God does not change. God has always existed. When you guys sing worship songs, Sunday mornings or whatever other day of the week you do it, when you guys sing these songs, you guys are singing to a being who never began to exist. You're singing to a being who has always existed. And that causes you usually to worship more. and awe. Think of, wow, what is eternity like? Or what, you can't even fathom, right? It's incomprehensible to think of something that has always existed, or a being who has always existed. The heavens declare the majesty of God, the glory of God, right? This universe was created. It didn't always exist. God is the only being who always existed. So this morning, we talked about what is truth. Is there evidence for God? Do many PowerPoint? Do many religions believe in the same God? You know, what sets the Jesus of Christianity apart from the Jesus of Mormonism, Jehovah's Witnesses, Islam, etc.? I told the guy yesterday, you know, Joseph Smith died, he stayed dead. Muhammad, the supposed prophet of Islam, died, stayed dead. Charles Taze Russell, the founder of the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society, aka Jehovah's Witnesses, died and stayed dead. Jesus Christ is the only one who rose from the dead, which is why we celebrate Easter, right? Here in a few weeks. We're celebrating the resurrection of Jesus Christ. The Jesus who exists in reality. The true Jesus Christ, who said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. Not a way, like if Christianity works for you. Not a truth, like there's more truth out there. The truth, and the only way. He said he's the only way to the Father. In the Bible, who asked the question, what is truth? Anyone know? Pontius Pilate. Right? Who did he ask that question to? Jesus Christ. When Jesus was handed over to Pilate, and the Jewish people had said, crucify him, and Pilate said, hey, I have the ability to let you go. He asked him if he was a king. He asked him some different questions, right? He asked him, what is truth? But he didn't stick around for the answer. The greatest question ever asked was given to the greatest authority on the subject. What is truth? Jesus Christ is the way, the truth, and the life. And that truth exists outside of us, whether we believe it or not. He is the way or he's not. He's God's son or he's not. And because things exist, we know that something always existed. The God of the Bible is the being who lines up with that. And many religions do not believe in the same God. They believe in a God, but they're contradictory, which means they cannot all be true. Either they're all wrong, or someone's right and the rest are wrong. But they can't all be true. Now again, I work for Ratio Christi, and it would be great to get some clubs where this kind of thing happens every single week on your own school campus, public and private. Every single high school, community college, and university throughout California. Right now, I'm working on getting a first chapter in Central California set up at Madera Community College. We currently have a chapter at San Jose State University. We currently have a chapter at UC Berkeley. We currently have 5 chapters in Southern California. 0 from Bakersfield to Sacramento. So if you guys were not here last week, I have a sign-up log in the back there. How many of you guys received my newsletter already that I sent you out last week? Okay, great. If you guys have not received those newsletters, which you will get every single month, please sign up there. You'll stay updated on what's happening around the Central Valley. A little bit of apologetic stuff in there. A lot of logical fallacies that people say that you don't really catch. It'll kind of sharpen you with those logical fallacies that are in there each month. And again, if you guys like this is interesting. How many of you guys think this is interesting? Raise your hand. Let Jesse, let Josh, let Jeremy, let your leaders know. Because in addition to having the clubs on campuses where you guys can be trained every single week in apologetics, which is again the defense of the Christian faith, 1 Peter 3:15 says, always be prepared to make a defense, to give a reason for the hope that lies within you. But do it with gentleness and respect. So apologetics is the art and science of defending the faith using logic and reason while sharing the Christian worldview. Who's that verse written to? All Christians. The Bible tells Christians to be ready to Share the faith, evangelism. It tells all Christians that you should be ready to defend the faith. Apologetics. Paul did it all the time. Jesus did it. So if you have not signed up, again, there's something in the back. There's some more flyer stuff as well. If you have any more questions, let me know. Next Sunday, I'll be answering these questions. Number one, is the Trinity a contradiction? That's a big one, right? Trinity is something that sets another thing that sets Christianity apart from every man-made religion that's out there. This is just a map of California. It'd be great to have chapters in here. And there's my contact info. I'm not sure why my email address is in turquoise. But there, and that contact information is kind of high, but that's my main page. That's my email address. Partner with me. And then you guys can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I have an account. I don't have pictures on there yet. But you guys can add me on there. But next week, is the Trinity a contradiction? Is the Bible reliable? Is the Bible true? Has the Bible been changed? All those questions are answered in that same segment. So is the Trinity a contradiction? Is the Bible reliable? And if God, why evil? Which is 3 more challenges that I gave you guys when I role-played the atheist. Okay? Was this helpful this morning? At least a little bit? So now, if you guys can't, don't remember everything that I said this morning, remember, if you guys are in conversations with people, as long as you're asking questions, you're in control of the conversation. And whoever makes a statement bears the burden of proof. If you say God exists, it's technically your job to prove that. So if you ask questions and they make statements, the burden of proof is on them, okay? And don't let them shift it to you unless you make a statement. But, think about this morning. Keep reading the Word, and this will come alive even more, and it will just prepare you guys to talk with classmates, coworkers, family, friends, neighbors, etc., who challenge you. Or these are just ways that you can move towards the gospel in conversations, because apologetics is commonly considered pre-evangelism. Because apologetics, you can destroy these intellectual walls and barriers that people have and clear the path to share the gospel clearly and effectively. So it's kind of a two sides of the same coin. Apologetics, evangelism. Okay? Sound good? Jesse? Josh?
Awesome. Thanks, Tony.